Hello, clienting listeners. I am so excited for today's episode. It is going to be highly technical. You are going to learn so much. You are going to need the biggest notebook that you have had for any of our episodes previously, I think. It's going to be an amazing lightning round. And so I'll introduce my guest, Sam Malai. I'm so excited to be chatting with him today about a ton of stuff that we're going to get into. But first, I want to let him introduce himself and share a little bit about your background with our listeners. So welcome, Sam.
Thank you so much, Kelly. Hi, guys. I'm Sam Malai. I am a lawyer slash, I would say, a funnel hacker, and I'll kind of explain what that means later. I've been a lawyer for 5 years. I pretty much started off doing employment law until I read a nice little book called 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss, where I kind of got exposed to running an online business, learned kind of the principles of scalable, automation, all those things. And it kind of really opened up my eyes, and I kind of saw this opportunity to go and create something on my own. So pretty much right after I passed the bar, decided to go on my own and started learning about lead generation, creating a website, and just generating clients online. The good news was that I basically had something to apply to when I created a website, and as soon as I would learn anything, I would go and apply it. Fast forward 4 years later, I've had 3,000 clients so far. I've collected over 1,000 Google reviews, which I'm sure we'll get into. And I basically I've figured out the practical steps of how lawyers can generate clients online. And hopefully we'll be talking about that today.
Yeah, awesome. I'm so excited. So the first thing I want to get into, I know a bit about this. I've talked a little bit about this with other people, but you are the first lawyer in the ClickFunnels 2 Comma Club, which reminds me a lot of the show Silicon Valley and the 3 Comma Club, but we don't have to get into that. But just can you explain ClickFunnels a little bit?
Sure. So ClickFunnels, foremost, I would say, is a community of online marketers, people who are trying to figure out how to take problems that people are having and how to create and kind of tailor that product or service in order to convince your prospects that you're the right fit for them and you could offer that product or service for them. So it's a community of people trying to figure out this system, and it really follows a funnel system. What I mean by a funnel is that just imagine a funnel, an actual funnel that you flip, pretty much you flip it over, where you have the long side on the top, and it's being squeezed going to the bottom, and you have your leads and your prospects at the top, and the end goal is to get them to become your client and your customers. And that's what ClickFunnels teaches, is how to create that system to take somebody who doesn't know you and to get them to become your client or your customer. So what a 2 Comma Club is, it's people who have achieved doing 7 figures, $1 million using these ClickFunnels. I had kind of, as soon as I started learning about funnels, this is like the ultimate bucket list goal that every marketer wants to get to, is to become a 2 Comma Club winner. In the past year, I realized I have a chance for this. So I started doing an affirmation to become the first lawyer in the 2 Comma Club. And just recently, I finally got accepted. It was my personal bucket list, and I'm so glad that I was able to at least prove that I could do it. And now, once I have the proof that, hey, I have done this as the first lawyer, now I could teach other lawyers how to do the same.
Yeah, and you're doing that. That's what your system, Legal Funnel, is all about, right? Teaching
Yeah,
other lawyers how to
exactly.
do it.
So basically, when it comes to online lead generation, there's a million ways and one to generate clients online. There's SEO, content marketing, AdWords, Facebook ads. There's so many different ways. But what's really important is figuring out exactly what are those top ways. What's the 80-20? Those top ways that you can use. Instead of doing everything, what's one action, one thing you could do to generate clients online? And I figured that out for lawyers. I figured out the 80-20 of how to generate clients online. Just giving a short summary, it's pretty much getting traffic either through Google or Facebook. Second is landing page. Third is email series, videos, copy. And then fourth is retargeting. So those are the parts of a legal funnel. I could go into all those details with your audience as well.
So, where again are you based? I know you have a virtual law firm, but do you help clients all over the U.S.? Are you just based in one particular state?
I'm based in Los Angeles myself, but from the get-go, when I started my law firm, I kind of wanted to create a virtual law firm model where I'm able to serve my clients from anywhere in the world. And I actually tested this for the first time 3 years ago, and I kind of did it. I created those systems in place for me to be able to only talk to prospects over email and at most through phone. And then I'll also be able to find a way to serve those clients just from my laptop. And so 3 years ago, I went on a trip to Israel and I took my laptop with me for 3 weeks, and I still managed to get the same number of clients while I was working on my laptop from across the world. And so that's the virtual law model, is that you're able to pretty much serve clients from your laptop.
Do you think that ClickFunnels and the legal funnel model can work for law firms that aren't virtual? And are there any practice areas that you could see that this works better for?
Absolutely. So ClickFunnels and Funnels works for every type of product or service. There is no way it doesn't. If you haven't figured out how to do it, just means you just haven't figured out. But I could promise you there is always a way for every type of lawyer. It doesn't matter if it's family law, personal injury, anything you could possibly imagine, it does work. Also, it's not tied into services. It could also be for generating leads. So yes, it does work. You just have to figure out how to do it using the funnel system.
Awesome. So let's go kind of the 4 parts of your legal funnel. We'll kind of go through and talk about maybe some best practices with each of these. I know that it starts with traffic, of course. So you're getting traffic from Google ads or Facebook ads or YouTube videos. How do you suggest that people are getting this traffic or figuring out where to acquire it from?
Sure. So yeah, the first step, traffic. So you want to first figure out whether Google or Facebook. A lot of people don't realize this. When it comes to law, it's a very intent-based kind of service. Somebody needs it, they go and find it. So based on that, Google makes way more sense than Facebook, especially if they don't know you. So you just have to wait for somebody that needs your specific services, and then they go find you on Google. On Google, there's 2 ways, either AdWords or SEO, which is basically content marketing. So you're paying for clicks, or you're creating content in order for you to rank organically on Google, for you to get those visitors. I do know that Attorney Sync does an amazing job at SEO. So either you get an amazing SEO company to do this for you, or you hire a company who can do AdWords. So, but it starts from there. Start off with Google traffic to bring people to a landing page.
Awesome. And I know landing pages have been huge in legal marketing for a really long time, but I think there's such a wide breadth of how people are using them and thus their effectiveness. And because I know we've come across lawyers and law firms who they're like, oh yeah, I have these 40 different websites, and it's like, no, you have 40 different landing pages and your one main website. But what are some things that ClickFunnels does and your system does that's a little bit different for landing pages to be able to convert the visitors to actual leads?
Yeah, so websites have worked relatively well. I mean, they have worked for the last 20, 30 years, but now I see a transition going away from regular websites to more landing pages. Of course, every law firm should have a website, but as part of your website, you should have a dedicated landing page just made for lead generation. And what's different from a landing page than a website is that the landing page is really focused on getting you that whatever action you want, which is usually for lawyers, it's phone calls. So what you want to do is get someone to create you a landing page, that is very focused, that doesn't have, it takes away all those distractions like a menu, that maybe it's sending people to different blog articles. You don't want to do that. You want to just have straight to the point, a landing page that's made just for that reason. And I see the biggest opportunity right now for lawyers and law firms. 99% of law firms don't have good landing pages, or they don't have it built, or they don't have good ones built. So if you're hearing this, get yourself a landing page built. And if you are going to be doing AdWords, if you're just sending them to your homepage or page that's not your landing page, you're straight up just wasting money. So it's crucial, and it's one of the biggest opportunities I see right now.
Yeah. I mean, that is a big, definitely a big area where there is a lot of opportunity for people who are maybe doing AdWords on their own and managing a smaller budget, where you think, oh, just send them to my website. But the difference, the mental difference that you have to note that I think people are in when they're looking at Google ads themselves and then wanting to go to your website is that they're looking at your very specific call to action in the ad. If they weren't necessarily looking for a call to action, they would probably scroll down and go to one of the first few websites there. But when they're clicking on an ad, it's like, do this thing right now. And going to your website, you just have kind of your general overview and your general call to action. And it's not necessarily as strong. It's more for people learning. And so you have the Google Ads strong call to action. You have to match it to the landing page that also has the strong call to action.
Definitely. Yeah. And that's actually one of the biggest misconceptions when it comes to lawyers doing their own marketing. It's Google makes it very easy for lawyers to set up their own AdWords campaigns. But that's also the biggest mistake, trying to do it yourself. It's easy to get up. To set it up, but it's also very easy to mess up. So you definitely want to hire a specialist, somebody who knows what they're doing to create your AdWords campaigns and your landing pages.
Yeah. Yep. Get that expertise there. Awesome. All right. So you've got, since we're talking about the strong call to action, that to me ties into the next piece, which is content. Because of course, anything you're writing, you can call it content, but you mean something a lot bigger here. So what are you talking about when you're thinking about the content that lawyers and law firms should create?
So I would probably consider this as the third part of the funnel. Is pretty much that content, the videos, the articles, anything you could expose your prospects to. And the reason, and it's really important because I learned in my sales process, is that most people don't take action from the first time when they meet you. Just the same way that, you don't become best friends from just the first time you meet anybody in real life. Same way it works online. People need to hear about you, read your articles, pretty much get exposure to you multiple times before they take action. So on your landing page, you need to make sure to get their contact information. If they call you, you have their phone number. Now you'll be able to text them. That's one way. Or if they fill out your contact information, now you have their name, their email address, and you should start a nurturing email series where you kind of create an automated email series where you're sending them valuable content so that they get exposed to you, they get value from you, they hear from you, they see you through video, so that when they're ready to take action, then they'll call you versus somebody else. What I've seen working right now is a very value-focused email series with videos embedded into the emails. And I use the word embedded very loosely. It's not actually embedded, but there are tools. The one particular tool that I use, dubb.com. It lets you either upload videos or lets you record videos on your computer. And just quickly, videos, a lot of lawyers just take it way too seriously. They think it has to be something professional. I promise you, it does not have to be professional. If anything, it actually helps. It helps conversions when it's more real, when you just take out your phone and camera, or you just record your screen and you just record a video like that, and you just talk to your prospects. The same way a prospect walks into your office, what do you say to them? So you just take a 3-minute video. Hey, this is me. This is how I can help you. This is what you should do next. and you record 3 of those videos, you add it to your emails using Dub, and you just send them these emails automatically once they fill out your contact form, or you could send them a text to those videos to get them engaged, to get them to talk to you.
Awesome. I like that. There are also, we have talked about on here Soapbox by Wistia. I really like that one as well for recording videos. And then Bomb Bomb is another one that that does that. Yeah, because it's people always be like, how do I, they're Google, how do I get my video into an email? And it's like, well, you have to sort of do this workaround thing where it puts it in as a GIF, but then when you click on it, it sort of opens up the video, but it doesn't actually open it up on a new screen. And yeah, all the little tricks there.
Yeah, and the thing is, lawyers and people are just not taking advantage of this. So if you're just listening to this and you go and actually take action, you guys will be a couple of years ahead of everybody else kind of coming on board and doing this in a couple of years. So just do it. Use one of the tools and do it.
Yes, I will say though, Sam, that the first time I got a video in an email instead of an actual response, I was so freaked out and I was like, what is this? Like, why is there some video in here? This is so weird. And now it is a much more common thing. It's still not super common and still can be a thing that sets you apart. But I think especially we talk so much about personalizing yourself as a lawyer and kind of breaking down those walls and barriers with your clients so they can get to know you, that I think our audience has heard it so much and they are on board with it. But this is just another one of those ways where you have your landing page with a video, you have your email series that has the little video in it that's personalized, and especially the key that you called out of doing a video for your new prospect, especially if you are a true solo attorney, or just have like a virtual assistant or something, of making that personalized touch and that personal approach of, hey Jane, I'm so glad that you filled out your information. Thank you so much. That means a lot that you would trust us with having your info, and would love to set up a time to chat with you, sort of a thing. It just really, really differentiates yourself.
Yeah, make sure that your prospect sees your face. I, I realized like your face converts better than anything, better than a logo. So if you can use your face, your headshot picture instead of your logo, I would suggest that. Nobody does it, but it works really well actually. Your Facebook profile, make sure it doesn't show your logo. Make sure it shows your face. It doesn't matter even if you're a company, just add somebody's face to it. Your email signature, make sure it has your face. Your videos, make sure they see it. So just add your face and add your touch to every part of content you put out.
Oh, that's interesting about even on social media and stuff, having a person or a face on there, because I know I can already sort of hear a lot of pushback from, especially from non-solo attorneys, from where there are multiple people in the firm, because you can't necessarily fit 12 people in one photo. And so I can imagine all the boardroom discussions, I will say, not fights, discussions that would happen of people lobbying to be the one in the image. So that's
just as long as one person, I would say. It doesn't matter, as long as it's to the benefit of everybody in the group.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry, the rabbit hole that my brain went down, people. All right. So let's, after you've got this content, I love the next piece that you have in here, which is retargeting. So can you talk a little bit more about how people can do that more successfully?
Yeah. So retargeting is, the whole point of it is, most people, again, don't take action from just them seeing you once. So if you spend money, or if you spend efforts, either creating content and you bring people to your website, then most people, 95% of people won't take action just from that first try. So the way you get them back is through retargeting. And practically speaking, you use Facebook ads to retargeting. I see a lot of lawyers come and go. I see them trying out Facebook ads. I literally see the ads once, and then they'll probably try it for a couple of weeks. They create campaigns, maybe they go hire somebody, whatever, they do it themselves. And it lasts a couple of weeks and they see that it doesn't work, and then they stop. And they probably spend a couple of $1,000s kind of testing out. It won't work. I'm telling you right now, it won't work. The only way you want to use Facebook right now, the best way is to use it to retarget your website visitors. People who have landed on your website with intent, they're there for a reason. So you pull them back on Facebook. And it's a very simple campaign. You add a pixel to your landing page, to your website, and then you tell Facebook, hey, anybody who has been on this particular page, go ahead and show them this video. Go ahead and show them this testimonial. Go ahead and show them this article. I've seen, but the best Facebook retargeting ad that's working for me is just testimonials, just straight testimonial video, and then the call to action to say, hey, if you want to join this person, just like this person, you want to start your business or whatever, then start right here. And that works really well. So don't waste money trying to do Facebook ads directly from cold traffic, somebody who doesn't know you, to all of a sudden expect them to call you for a free consultation for, I don't know, whatever it is. Instead, just set up a simple Facebook retargeting campaign.
I like it. Yes. That is consistent with other things we have, other conversations I've had on here too. All right. Are you ready to talk about Google reviews?
Let's do it.
Yes, you're kind of a champion of Google reviews. The fact that you have been in practice for like 6 years now, and you have over 1,000 Google reviews is kind of amazing. And I know you have some methods to your madness. So tell us, share with us.
Yeah, actually, I have a cool story, which kind of what inspired me to get to this point. This is about 3 years ago. Out of nowhere, I got a 1-star Google review, and I looked at it. I'm like, who is this person? And I couldn't figure out who it was. And to this day, I still don't know what it was. It wasn't one of my clients. It wasn't one of my prospects. I'm assuming it was one of my competitors. But anyways, somebody left me a 1-star review. And at the time, I only had like 4 reviews. So 1-star review obviously makes a big impact. I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? Just like every lawyer gets better. You're like, what are you going to do? The best way to combat that is to go and get more reviews. So that kind of put some fire under me. And I started collecting reviews. And there was this concept that I learned about how to get links. And the way you get links, or how you get anybody to do anything, is that you cannot ask for too much too fast. And what you want to do is you want to get people to micro commit before you ask them to do whatever you want them to do. So I applied this concept to get reviews. So what typically the typical way that most lawyers ask for reviews is this: after the work is finished, they say, hey, do you mind, can you leave me a review? Here's the link. And then lawyers kind of expect the client to go and click on the link to leave a review. That's what most people do. And that's the reason why most people don't succeed, because it's too much of an ask. Instead, what you want to do, and this is my secret sauce that I'm sharing with your audience, Kelly, is to ask for permission to give them a link to leave a review. And I'll pull out the actual script right now, which I'll share with your audience right now, and I'll read it word by word, and you guys feel free to copy it and use it for your own practice. Let me just give me a...
Oh, that's good stuff. You know, that is a really interesting, different sort of, I mean, I hate to say this, but sort of psychological game where you ask permission, you get their buy-in, and then there's this, the rule of reciprocity, where they sort of feel a little bit more obligated because you asked them. They said, yes, you are allowed to do that for me. And so then they're a little bit more bought in than necessarily just, click this link and fill this out. So very, very interesting.
Yeah. So if you're seeing the video right now, I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to actually read it out loud for everybody who's listening on the podcast. And this is word by word, exactly what I've used to get 1,080 reviews, 1,080 Google reviews so far. So here it is. First name. So you first mentioned their first name. I'd like to ask you for a favor. Would you please mind taking a few moments to write a review for me? Your comments will help others know what to expect when they're looking for the service I offer. Now here's the kick line, the call to action. May I please send you a link to leave a review, if that's okay with you? ? So you first ask them to say yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then once they say yes, then you send them another email and you say, great, thank you so much. Here's the link. I really appreciate you doing this. I'll be sure to return the favor when you need assistance in the future. And that's another line where you could kind of put it back on them where, if you leave me a review, then, if you need anything in the future, I'll be happy to return the favor. So that is it. Use this script. The line, may I please send you a link to leave a review if that's okay with you? Use that line. I think I have about a 30 or 40% success rate with this exact script. It works really well. Anybody that I've taught this to, right away, they always email me like, hey, Sam, I got 30 reviews just by doing this. It works really well. So definitely recommend using the strategy.
Very cool. That is awesome. I like that just slight little change, just sort of flip things around. And obviously, it's this thing where if your client needs something, or former client, potential client, whatever, needs something in the future, of course you're going to be willing to help them, because that's a return, a referral. And or if they contact you and say, hey, I know you're a business attorney, but I got in a car accident and I need this, of course you have your network of attorneys that you can kind of reach out and do some other referral stuff for. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I would say there's two other points I want to make a note of. That's really important. I see some lawyers getting reviews on Yelp. I would not do that. Google is a lot more valuable than Yelp. And the reason why I say that is I definitely see Yelp going down. It's on a decline. I haven't heard amazing things about their company. I'm not going to get into it. At the same time, Google is a lot more valuable. It's a lot more sustainable. Yelp actually relies on Google for their traffic. So what if Google decides to just cut them out, which, they will end up doing, they already have. So just make sure to get your reviews on Google. Number two, this system works. The first part is the script, actual script. The second part is an automated email series that you create an email series so that there's an email that's sent to your clients repeatedly to get them to do this. So there's one email series for the first part, asking them for permission to send them a link. And there's also an email series for once they say yes, then it keeps basically sending them the link to leave a review. The tool that I use for this is called Mixmax, Mixmax. Mm-hmm. It's a plugin. It's a tool for Gmail instead of Gmail. You can create multiple emails to be an email series. So inside of Gmail, I can just say, hey, send this email multiple times until they reply back. As long as you're not doing it in a spammy way, it works really well. People don't have problems with it. It looks genuine. It looks like the emails are coming from you. Just keep it very short, and it works really well.
Very cool. Awesome. The one thing I will say about Yelp, and I totally hear everything you have to say, and we're thinking about it. But one thing, yes, Google is the majority of search is happening on Google. What is it, like 80% or even more now? But Yelp comes into play when people are searching on Bing, which if you have a Microsoft product and you're not, switching over to Google Chrome or anything like that, you're going to be searching on Bing. And Yelp reviews are their review source. So Google has Google My Business. When you search on Bing, Yelp comes up in your business profile on there. So it's not necessarily as important because there isn't as much search traffic on there, but I would say to just keep it in mind and monitor it. But I do agree that you may not necessarily want to be sending people there first. You want to be sending them to Google first, but yes.
Totally.
Anyway, my little caveat. All right. Since you mentioned one of the tools you use, I want to talk about the other tools you use, especially you mentioned you have in our notes that we're talking about here that nobody else can see, that you use Upwork. So how do you use Upwork and what do you use it for?
Yeah, so Upwork is the biggest free website for finding freelancers online. It's kind of like one of my secret sauces for running my virtual law firm. From the get-go, I don't have the resources to go and hire people right away, in-person people. So I decided to learn about how to hire virtual assistants, people who work around the world, who speak English, who can do any task you could possibly imagine, from anything you could possibly imagine. The ones that it works really well for is admin-related tasks, anything that you have to do on a computer. There's people around the world that are willing to do it for you for relatively cheap. So I've pretty much been able to kind of use that strategy to build a big portion of my team through these virtual admins that I find on Upwork. Upwork lets you create job posts, and then lets you hire, and also lets you manage and do kind of keep track of their time, keep track of their work. Automatically has systems for paying these virtual assistants. It just makes it really easy. I use it really religiously. At this point, I probably hired, I'm not joking, like probably 120 VAs. Right now I have about 30 VAs that are kind of working around the clock, around the world. Really nice people from around the world. Secret valuable information I could share with you guys is that people from Philippines are amazing VAs. There's also some concerns about time zones. It's not that much of an issue, but if there's a need for you to have somebody that works in the US, then you make sure to include that in your job post. Hey, I need somebody to work in the US time. There's a lot of people around the world who are willing to work for you, even in the US time. But it works really well. Super high value, highly leverageable, because again, you could be able to take somebody that you hire for $5 up to $10 an hour and leverage their work and get value of $50 up to $300 an hour. And that's basically what I do. I leverage other people's times to create the systems in place to be able to serve my clients.
That's a really good tip to that you don't necessarily, because we at Attorneys Inc. have used Upwork quite a bit for different things, just getting some help on different things, design, that sort of thing. And I just sort of always looked in the US or similar to US time zones, because I was thinking, oh, I want to be able to communicate with you during the same time of day that I have. But that is really good to note, that you want someone to work within that time zone, not necessarily that they have to be in it already.
Yeah, and it could also be an advantage if you actually think about it. So it doesn't distract you. Instead of sitting there trying to train and talk to your VAs during the day, why don't you just give your instructions, and then once you're off work, they do the work, and in the morning when you come back on, the work is done, and then now you could work on it without any distractions. Again, use videos to provide instructions to your VAs. A really good tool for this is Loom. Loom is an internal tool that I use that makes it really easy to be able to record my screen and share like a small little video of myself. I'm pretty much able to record my instructions within 2 or 3 minutes, give very detailed instructions to the VAs, send it to them. By the time I wake up in the next morning, it's all done. It's all automated.
Loom. I'm writing that down. I like it. Okay, so giving instructions. Do you have any tips for people also on vetting people on Upwork? So are there things to watch out for, or do you start them off with a certain kind of project to make sure that they'll work well for you?
Yeah, ideally you want to hire 2 people, give them a small task, see who does it the fastest and best, and based on that, fire one and keep one of them. Usually relatively, like, people do their job, it's fine. So I think I see that more of a hindrance of why lawyers don't take this action and do it. Just don't worry about that. Just hire, see how it goes. The worst comes to worst, we just terminate and hire the next one. So yeah, don't let that stop you.
Awesome. What are some other tools that you use?
Calendly for scheduling. It's very important. Obviously, you want to have an open line so that prospects could call you. But you also want to, if you have a lot of leads and a lot of clients, you want to have them schedule the time with you. I use Calendly. I have used other tools. I've seen some success with some other ones, but at the end of trying all of them, Calendly has proved to be the most successful. I think the reason is because most people are more familiar with Calendly. So when they see it, they just know what to click on and what to do. So Calendly works really well. Mixmax I mentioned is like a big component of my entire system. And then I use ClickFunnels to pretty much create my landing pages, my sales pages, my order forms, things like that to quickly get something up, test out the offer. If it works, then yeah, it just works really well. So yeah, ClickFunnels for that.
Awesome. I like it. All right. And you already talked about Mixmax a little bit earlier too, so people should check that out. Let's end with some lessons that you've learned. You definitely you've done all these things. I'm sure there are lots of things that you tried that maybe didn't work the first time. And so, what are some of your lessons in marketing your virtual law firm?
I would say my number one biggest principle that I follow is the 80-20 Pareto principle. And it becomes a lot more important when it comes to online marketing, just because there's so many ways to get the result that you want. Because there's so many things, you really have to focus on those key tasks that get you the result. So what the 80-20 Pareto principle is that 20% of your efforts brings 80% of your results. So again, 20%, very minute percentage of your efforts brings about the majority of your results. So when let's just say when you have 10 tasks, 10 different things to do, what are those top 2 tasks that you can do that could bring the most results? Another practical way I could kind of explain it is I would say we're getting to the end of the year, go do an analysis for 2019. Go figure out exactly what services you offer and exactly how many clients and how much revenue you generated from each service. I promise you, if you do analysis of that, you'll find out that your top 1 or 2 services brings in 80% of your revenue. And what you should do based on that information is go focus on those clients, on those types of clients. Also, when it comes to campaigns, marketing, different things, if you have lot of different blog articles, let's say you have 50 different blog articles. If you go look at your Google Analytics, you'll see that your top 4 pages brings in 80% of your visitors. So instead of going and making changes to all your pages, go only focus on your top 4 pages, go add more content to it, make it as best as possible, and that will get you the most results. So apply this, kind of understand this principle, look this up, read more about it, and apply it to every little single thing that you do. Second realization that I learned, that I kind of mentioned earlier, was that clients like working with people and not companies. So make sure that your face and your story is prominent on your website. Make sure people know you and know your story. That way, it kind of it creates you. It makes you into a real person, and people want to work with people. They don't want to work with obscure companies. So make sure to add that to your website. And the third principle that I learned is follow-up is everything. Most of my sales and most of my closes comes through follow-ups. People usually don't say no because of your price. They don't say no because of your fit. The reason why most people say no is because of not the right timing. It's just not the right time. So when you follow up, when you continue nurturing them, then they'll come back to you in a week and in a couple of months. I've seen in my sales process, I've seen the sales cycle is 1 month. So it takes an average of 1 month. Once they find out about me, once they enter my funnel to when they sign up, it takes an entire month. And I'm sure it'll be the same for you guys. So make sure to have a follow-up system in place, either through Mixmax or through some kind of nurturing email series, something like that. Or if you send it to YouTube, you can nurture them that way too.
Yeah. I mean, I know for family law, the time between their initial contact and when they actually will retain a lawyer can be from 6 to 12 months. It can be a really long time, because that process can take a long time for people to come around to do and follow. I mean, when you put this out there as something for us to talk about, I was really excited about it, because I think as I wrote back to you in our email exchange, I said, it's one thing for people to say, oh, you know what, I really don't need to do any marketing because I get all of my clients through referrals. Well, here's the thing. You're following up with those people and you're getting those referrals, or they'll say that my people who reach out to me via online sources aren't as good as my referrals. And it's like, well, you know what? They might not be ready. Whereas a referral is really a warm handoff from someone. It's someone who they already have the social proof. They already know that you are a good attorney. They already know that they might want to work with you because they trust whoever sent them to you. You don't have that with an online source. And so you need to be doing the follow up. You need to maybe put a little bit more effort in. And it doesn't even have to be that much effort because, as you mentioned, you can automate your emails and do this automated follow up through a service like Mixmax or, MailChimp or any other stuff to just kind of keep in touch with that person and sort of warm them up over the month-long or 6-month-long process.
Yeah. And I think you mentioned something that lawyers fall for. And it's one thing that I keep hearing over and over. It's like, well, I already have clients from referrals. If your business and your law firm depends on referral source, you should be really concerned. And I really mean it. I see a lot of lawyers, yes, it does bring you clients, but at the same time, it brings a lot of uncertainty and a lot of ups and downs where, some weeks or some months it's good and some months it's down. So you need to have a system in place for you to have incoming calls coming in. If you don't, you definitely should, don't fall behind. Don't just depend on something that you don't control.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I always kind of bristle a little bit, and I'm sorry to lawyers who say this. I'm not trying to doubt you at all, but I always bristle a little bit when lawyers are like, "Oh, I don't need to do any marketing. I get all my clients through referrals, or I go to this networking group or that sort of thing." And as I have said time and time again, you're spending the time, you're spending the time, you're nurturing those relationships, you're doing all of that stuff, and time equals money, and so you have to equate all of those things. But everybody's heard me say that a million times. It's just that I really liked the kind of different spin that you put on it of follow up, because your online leads are cold leads, your referrals are warm leads. It's just a different kind of way of looking at them. And that ties it back around to funnels.
Yeah, I would say it's I notice a lot of lawyers who are kind of hesitant. They're kind of on some lawyers are conservative. I think I picked that up because I think it's because we're so analytical and we like analyzing everything from each side, from both sides, from the third side until they make a decision. My clients are entrepreneurs. So imagine I get hundreds of emails a day of different people who are looking to start a business. And I see a lot of patterns. I see from somebody who's looking for something, and I see who actually make it out to the other side, actually take action. And the biggest correlation, biggest fact that I see of people who actually get started is people who just take action, and they don't get to the nitty gritty of the details. What about this? What about this? What about that? People who are like, okay, let's do it. Let's just do it. And people who spend money, people who are like open to kind of spending money and giving and making action, those are the people who get the most results. And I keep seeing this over and over, and I keep pressuring my friends. I'm like, don't be afraid, spend money, like just go for it. You'll definitely gain more than lose by going for it. So always go for it.
Awesome. I love it. I think that's the perfect way to end. So if anybody wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Sure. You could, by the way, I'm very open to mentoring and to talking to lawyers. I happen to have an amazing mentor myself. And just naturally, I tend to do the same. I mentor, I would say, a couple of dozen lawyers, different kinds of entrepreneurs at the same time. So I'm very open to that. You could reach me at sam@legalfunnel.com. You could also just Google me. If you just Google my name, you'll be able to see my reviews and my websites and all that stuff. Feel free to get in contact with me. Send me an email. I'll be happy to set up a time to talk to you. Pretty much about just how to succeed as a lawyer, how to run a virtual law firm, and kind of how to apply the 80-20 principle to get clients as fast as possible.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you so much for joining me today and sharing all of your technical marketing knowledge and all of the really cool stuff about funnels. I love it.
Sure. Thank you so much, Kelly. Appreciate it.